name is Kravtsov, and today I would like to share with you some of my thoughts on the reasons why I decided to pursue PhD degree in communication studies. So to start with, I think that my family background is pretty significant for me. As far as both of my parents, they used to be professors at our hometown university in Rostov-on-Don, which is pretty close to the border with Ukraine. And they would always be an example for me as far as they were really passionate and devoted to their profession. They would always communicate a lot with their students, prepare for their lectures, check students' homeworks, and so on and so forth. And I thought that their research did contribute a lot to our local community. So I'm thinking, and I have been thinking that that would be a great path for me because my parents were indeed a great example then. As for my academic experience, when I was a freshman, was my first year, and I had a talk with my future supervisor. Back then, she was just a teacher of mine, Maria Solosheva, and I asked her to help me. How can I start my path in academic field? And she suggested me to have a look at a dissertation of one of our professors, Svetlana Kravtsov. This dissertation was about soft power, about public diplomacy of China, and about ways how China communicate with foreign audiences. So that was the very first time when I became really integrated in this field and understood that it is exactly the road that I want to go. If I graduated from Texas A&M University, I would definitely devote myself to teaching and conducting research on image of developing countries, on the promotion of soft power of developing countries in the global south. And I would really love to be involved into numerous field research. Therefore, I would have to travel around the globe in the regions like East Asia, namely China, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and African countries like Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Egypt, and so on and so forth. So therefore, I would love to do something meaningful, not only for the local community itself, yeah, like our town or city where I will live, I will reside, but for the global, at a global level in general, because I believe that science, at first place, it should be applied. It should have some really meaningful and visible consequences at a global, at a national level. So therefore, I would like my research to become sort of guidelines or recommendations on how image of developing countries could be improved, how biases against developing countries and their representation in other countries could be improved and become more objective. So that would be a fulfilling work for me. The last section, I think that the potential topic of my research, that would be image of the global South countries, in particular African countries, and other developing countries like Russia, China, potentially some other East Asian countries. So I think that in this case, Dr. Kara Wallace would be a great supervisor for me, as far as her research involves numerous studies on Chinese media and culture. So I think that she would potentially be a great supervisor for me. As for the questions that I ask, as for the topics that I'm interested in, I think that would definitely be how image of a developing country is perceived in developed and developing world, whether the audience matters, how these differences are embodied in different societies, namely East Asian society or Russian society, and so on and so forth. I think that I would definitely use such methods like critical discourse analysis, frame analysis, and content analysis. In particular, critical discourse analysis was my major method in previous works. And as for scientists who inspire me, I think that would be Maria Ryabnikova, who teaches at Georgia State University, and she has written numerous books on soft power of China. And Dr. Chris Patterson from University of Leeds, and he conducts numerous research on image of Africa in Western countries. So that is all for me. Thank you very much for your attention.